It is nice. The thing I'm most excited about is we've played pretty well in 2 straight games, and that's a positive. That's a real positive. In retrospect, I think we've probably played, 4 pretty good games. We didn't play well in the 4th quarter against Milwaukee, but we played great in the first 3, and then we played pretty good at Toronto. So terrible Detroit. That was the one that we didn't play well.
That was Brad Stevens. This is the Garden Report. Jared Weiss, Jimmy Toscano, Evans Clinchey. Celtics win 97-87 over the Utah Jazz. They are now 1-4, first win of the season, avoid their first 0-5 start since the 46th season, the first ever season of the NBA. So there's a historical win tonight, is basically what we're saying. Jimmy, Stevens doesn't like losing. He likes winning better. Not really a shock.
That's good.
But what did you see better out of the team tonight?
Well, they played, I want to say they played 48 minutes, but they really didn't.
Yeah,
they didn't
skipped like 8 in the 4th quarter.
Yeah,
so
exactly.
34-ish.
But what I liked is that when they started to lose the lead, they didn't full-on panic and, poop their pants on the basketball court.
Which is a problem, pooping your pants.
Right, which it's happened to somebody, I'm sure. But, I thought Brandon Bass, a couple of guys came up big late in the 4th, a couple key shots, sort of stopped the bleeding. And I think then they kind of said, okay, listen, let's stop looking at the clock and stop playing the clock, and let's play the Jazz. Let's pick up the pace a little bit. Let's play some defense, and let's make some stops. And they did. And when they made a couple of stops, they answered. And the old saying that Dr. Rivers said was, defense creates offense. I think finally when they made a couple of stops, they turned that into offense and came out with the first win of the year.
Yeah, I mean, this team needs to learn how to play with the right pace in the 4th quarter. You play with a certain pace when you're up 10 in the 4th. You play with a different pace when you're down 10.
Yeah.
And the Celtics haven't really developed a feel yet for how that works, and this was kind of the first step toward figuring that out. Mm-hmm. Winning your first game is a big step because it kind of teaches you how to do it, like what's the blueprint for how you play in certain situations and how you don't. The Celtics had kind of panicked when they were only up by 13 with 8 minutes to go, and they didn't know how to handle that situation. It's because they choked last Friday against the Bucks, and they need to kind of refigure some things out that didn't work for them last week. I think this was a nice step because they kind of learned how to play the right way and figure out wins like this.
So they didn't collapse in the 4th quarter.
They tried to, but they didn't.
Yeah, well,
it wasn't a full-on collapse. It was a trip. It was a stumble.
Yeah,
they were up by over 20 points. So that's a pretty big fall.
Give them credit for that, though.
Yeah, but what was the difference at the end of the game there?
I mean, like Jimmy said, Brandon Bass made a couple of shots. It was just you get a stop here, a shot goes in there, and it's just little things that kind of build toward getting the win. I think they had a lead of 22, then 15, then 13, and 8. It slipped away pretty fast, but they kind of regain their composure and put it back together again.
I mean, it's the NBA. I mean, rarely when a team goes up as big as the Celtics went up tonight, rarely does it stay that way. I mean, it fluctuates. It's like, unlike maybe the college game's not like that. Maybe Stevens isn't used to a big lead, just slowly slipping away like that. But in the NBA, it happens all the time. I mean, the Jazz were up 13 in the 1st quarter, and just like that, now the Celtics were up 10 or whatever it was in the 2nd quarter. I mean, those leads never last. So it's important to sort of try to keep your foot on the pedal when you're up that big, but rarely, unless you're the Miami Heat or something, you're not going to leave it. It's not going to stay that way.
Well, there's a big difference and not to put the whole collapsing issue on Stevens. He's only the coach, while he definitely bears some of the blame. But in college, when you're up 30 on a team from the middle of nowhere, they don't have the talent on board to make a big comeback. But in the NBA, every team in the league is capable.
And on top of that, the shot clock is 35 seconds in the college game. You can slow it down. You can just sort of waste more time in the NBA. I mean, that clock's ticking, and you can't just stand there and watch it.
And the Celtics can't manage a shot clock right now. I mean, just Jordan Crawford holds onto the ball for 10 seconds and then chucks a 3. Like, they need to learn to execute better offensively, and that's something they'll learn with time.
Yeah.
But right now, they're just kind of feeling it out and finding ways to win that they didn't.
It's part of not having a point guard. That's what tends to happen.
That is most certainly part of it, yes.
All right, well, let's hear from the rest of the team. A lot of guys with a lot of smiles in the locker room tonight. All right.
They were huge. They're not only their defense intensity, but they were scoring. Like I said, we know our game plan. At the beginning of the beginning of the game, our coach told us that we need to be established inside, and we were.
What do you think of Gerald Wallace off the bench?
He just told us his nickname, Crash. I never knew it, but I mean that's how he plays, man. He's an exciting player to watch play, and to play alongside with. He gives everything on the floor. Brandon told him that he almost hurt him running through a screen. And he just plays hard, man, like I said. And, you know, that's big for our team to have a leader like that.
Yeah, I don't think we ever got down. I think we continued to stay positive because after watching film, we saw the things that we can correct to, you know, get to this point where we can win. And it was all, you know, self-corrections that, you know, we had. So we learned from our mistakes. And we came in tonight knowing that, you know, we're playing a team that's, you know, similar in our position. So we just wanted to come out and, you know, continue to build off the past few games.
I definitely thought about that, you know, taking it upon my shoulders, and I kind of did that last home game, and it ain't go our way. So, so tonight I definitely wanted to, you know, definitely use my teammates and, you know, move the ball more, and not kind of take it upon myself to kind of do things and try to get us over the hump. But tonight, you know, the ball was going our way. Basketball gods was with us, so it's cool to get the win.
I think the whole shocking part about it was it's kind of new for me. This is my 13th season, other than, you know, being on the bench my first 3 years in Sacramento. I've always been a starter. I bust my butt to be a starter, try to be productive in that first starting unit. And this is the first year, you know, I have to come off the bench. So it's a new process. It's always new. It's often confusing when something new is thrown at you in the start. But, you know, who knows? This might be the best thing for my career.
Okay, so Jeremy Gerald does not sound too happy there, but he's not completely freaking out, which is kind of different than what he's been doing earlier in the year, where he's kind of been criticizing guys pretty hard, gets put in a pretty uncomfortable situation, to say the least, for him, and he's handling it like a professional, as Jeff Green said.
Right. I wasn't there for the pregame interview, but it sounded, or by reading the quote, it sounded like he was pretty ticked off, or just kind of a little bit confused as, you know, what's my role on the team, you know, what's going on here, now I'm on the bench, like, does this mean my minutes are going way down? I think once he got out there onto the court and realized, okay, it's not so bad. I think he logged 23 minutes tonight, which maybe he wants to play a little more than that, but he said it himself. He's not a 35-minute-a-game player anymore.
Right.
I think if he goes in it with the right attitude, he can honestly benefit from it. It's not the worst thing in the world. I know players, there's sort of like a stigma attached to coming off the bench as opposed to starting. But so often we see guys start the game and they're nowhere to be found late in the game. I mean, tonight, for example, where was Favorani the entire...
He got pulled in the... I missed the beginning of when he played. I literally never got to see him play tonight.
Right. So, I mean, he started. Do you think he's really pumped about that he started tonight right now? Do you think he's going, I started tonight, no big deal, that's pretty good? No. So if Gerald Wallace can keep it up, he'll find himself getting plenty of playing time, and they'll put him in with a certain combination of players that suit his game better. I did think it was kind of funny after the game how his entire tone was completely different. It was almost like Danny Ainge was behind us all, just like holding up flashcards, like, and he was just reading like exactly
That's probably what
he should say, because it was like completely different.
I think Gerald Wallace gets a bad rap because, you know, you watch sports and you listen to pregame, postgame interviews or whatever, and you're just not used to hearing a guy express honesty.
Yeah.
Like, all Gerald Wallace has done is express his feelings honestly.
Loves to see him play for Bill Belichick.
He's just like F it mode, like, yeah, I'll say what I want.
I mean,
now,
people
whatever.
expect the same old cliches about, you know, play 110% for the team, yada, 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 but, like, all Gerald Wallace does is express his emotions. And, like, people ask him a question, like, how do you feel to not be starting? Like, how do you think he feels to not be starting? It sucks when you're not starting. He wants to be starting. And he just expresses that honestly, and people can't handle it. And furthermore, there's been a lot of, you know, leading questions asked to him in the media. Like, people want to see some controversy. They want him to say something
he puts it on himself. He
Controversy.
has the reputation of you know, kind of going out there and saying whatever he wants.
It's a team that was 0-4 coming into tonight. You want to, you know, kind of probe and find some reasons why. So you want to ask the hard questions and get some interesting answers. And so you ask him things like, how does it feel you're not starting? And, like, stir some things up.
Why do you hate the Celtics?
Yeah, it's like,
what?
Why does your life suck, Gerald? Can you explain that to us? Like,
I
I mean, you know, he's just giving answers to questions that are being asked of him, and he's being honest. And if you can't handle that, then I guess Gerald Wallace isn't your guy.
In a way, it's like you said, it's refreshing. It's good that he's answering questions, he's not just sort of ignoring people or whatever. I mean, we tried to talk to Chris Humphries tonight for obvious reasons.
Do we really? I didn't
basketball.
Even see him.
Yeah,
he was gone by the time I made it over there.
We were standing there, and he turned around and looked at me, and I was like,
"Hey, buddy."
And he's like, "I'm gonna be a minute." And I was like, "Whatever." And then he just walked away with his stuff, and a couple minutes went by, half hour went by, 45 minutes. Yeah, he's gone. He didn't come back. So I mean, that tells you something that, you know, clearly he doesn't want to answer those questions because his answers aren't going to be, you know, something that he probably wants out there. You know what I mean? Like, he's nothing good to say.
He played.
He's nothing good to say, so he's like, why bother saying?
He played 5.5 minutes
Played
tonight.
5.5
He doesn't
minutes.
doesn't really have anything good to say.
Exactly. Well, he played the first game, played pretty well. Hasn't played since tonight, and only played a few minutes. Hit a shot, turned it over once, but he hit the only shot he took. And then that was hit back to the bench. So
They're not even trying to enhance his trade value. I don't get it.
no, I mean, I think his value is just in the fact that his deal's expiring.
That is
I mean,
probably correct.
Well, some Halo trivia from earlier tonight: 21.48 PER coming into tonight's game.
I just don't think Chris Humphries is a contract. I think he's a little bit, he's more than a
He's
contract.
way more than that. There's
Yeah.
no question about
He's
it.
a decent piece on a contending team, but on the Celtics, like, what use do they have for him?
But
Like,
if
they're trying to build a young nucleus, and he's not really part of it. So
But
what do
the
you do?
team they have this year isn't the team they're going to have next year. So what are they really trying to build? I mean, they need a guy to at least grab the rebounds. Don't
Yeah, but
they?
their
I mean,
two best young players are the guys that play his position.
Right, you're
Olynyk
trying to
and
But he
develop
can
young
still-
talent
but
so
he
that it's
can
ready
s-
for next
but he
year.
can still-
You want to play Jared Sullinger, you want to play Kelly Olynyk, so that
Right.
those guys are ready to be better next
No,
season.
I agree with that, definitely. But I still think you can find time to try to win and maybe like get him in for a few minutes.
Yeah.
Maybe pair him with Sullinger, pair him with Olynyk, and just see what happens.
Why would you try to win if you're trying to win the Wiggins race?
Because the
not gonna-
players aren't trying to. I don't know. Stevens isn't trying to win the. Wiggins
That's
race.
the right answer. It's the players. They don't want to tank.
The
They don't
players
wanna
and the
lose.
coach.
Yeah.
Stevens doesn't want to lose. It's his first year.
Yeah, none of them want to lose. And they're not going to lose enough games to get Andrew Wiggins. Like, they're not that bad of a team.
Well, they're pretty-
They're going to win more than 30
If-
games. I'm putting it out there.
30. No.
More than 30.
If
I
the
think-
over/under is 30, I'm taking the under. I'm hammering it. I'm betting my house that I don't own on it.
Well, just so you know, the third ranking in the lottery is the most wins ever in lottery history. The worst team actually doesn't win it nearly as
That's
much.
how
as I think
probability works.
The
is
third
having,
and the
having
fifth.
fewer ping pong balls is better. Okay.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Random's
Right.
fun, but
Random is fun.
is there anyone?
It's like
on this-
so random.
Is there is there anyone on this team that you think like shouldn't be playing at this point?
Yeah, Humphries, and he's not, so
No.
I'm good.
That's what based on what though? Not based on skill.
Based on
Just redundancy.
redundancy and the fact that you're developing younger guys that are more important to your long-term plans. I mean, I've already explained it. We're good.
I get why he's not playing.
Okay.
From a long-term standpoint, I get why he's not playing. But if you're trying to maybe instill a little confidence or maybe like pick up the overall general mood in the locker room, maybe you win a couple games with him in there. I don't know. I mean, Jeff Green still wants to win. Those guys still want to win.
Something tells me that the general mood in the locker room is the very reason he's not playing.
No.
Something tells me that his presence is not great for team morale.
We know how big of a fan
that's
The fact that
Jason
he
Terry
got
is.
completely
dragged
baseless.
to the bus, it's baseless, but it
That's
makes
completely
sense if you
baseless.
think about it.
From what I've heard, he's been a great teammate and a great guy in the locker room.
Yeah, there's a lot of guys in that locker room that'll give you cliches like that, but
Hey,
I don't know.
we'll see. Gerald Wallace is the one calling everybody out. He's playing.
That's true, but he's calling everybody out because he wants to win, and it's not just about.
You don't think Humphries wants to win?
I think it's probably not the first thing on
Humphries
his mind.
hasn't
like,
displayed the same drive to have a vibrant and successful NBA
No,
career.
Humphries isn't the player
Verbally,
Gerald
at
Wallace
least.
is. I don't
Yeah.
think Humphries should get in the game.
well, it's not
before
even
Gerald
verbally;
Wallace.
it's just kind of the energy he plays with. I mean, there's just a whole different temperament to them. You can look at it and see that. Whatever.
Okay, well, we're supposed to be talking about Gerald Wallace quickly
Right,
before
Gerald
the
Wallace.
readers all get off.
Right. Well,
Should he be?
We talked about
Should
it.
he be coming off the bench? Is that the best place for him to be right now?
I think.
Or is it the best thing for the Celtics?
I think we'll find. I mean, they're 0-4 with him not coming off the bench, right? So I guess they're 1-0 with him coming off the bench. So why not keep it up until something else happens? I don't know.
Well, here's a
I don't really
question:
think
if
we
Brad
know yet.
Stevens is so happy with this combination of Wallace, Sullinger, and Olynyk, then why doesn't he just start all three guys, Wallace, Sullinger, and Olynyk? Why don't you start Bradley, Green, and those three guys?
There's no good answer for why not. I mean,
Wallace,
that
Wallace,
sounds good to me.
Sullinger, and Olynyk.
Well, don't forget they're playing
And
against
Green and
second
Bradley.
units. Yeah, they're playing against second
Because
units.
you go
that's
back to
something
Bradley
there.
at the point, and that's hasn't really worked
They don't
out.
have a point guard. Like Jordan Crawford at the point is no better. Jordan Crawford at the point will hold the ball for 15 seconds and then chuck a three.
Well, if Jordan, but if
Which
Jordan,
kind of works sometimes.
It works
Jordan
once.
Crawford's not a point guard, but at the same time, it does take a little pressure off Bradley. And if he can do a little bit more on the defensive end, if he's not constantly worried about being the point guard, then you kind of take a little bit of the good with the bad in that situation. I don't know. Obviously, it's not ideal, and there's not going to be a solution. But one guy that maybe, if he keeps playing well, Phil Pressey, who made his debut tonight, he could be a guy that debut-ish. He could be a guy that
Debut.
Played 4 minutes against Toronto.
did he?
Yeah.
Did not remember that.
Yep. I had to check the game log, but yeah. Okay,
I'm
go
just
ahead,
gonna
go
excuse
ahead.
myself
job,
right
Jared.
now. I'm gonna excuse myself.
I didn't realize that either.
Thanks
Whatever.
for calling that out right on film.
It's good.
But my point is, if he can work his way into the rotation a little bit more, and maybe have a point guard coming off the bench more so, and whatever. And that's
Whatever.
it.
All right, that's the end of this video because it went way too long. Next up, Gordon Hayward, Brad Stevens, a love affair.